Um, Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Simon Talks Life. This is episode 9. This one's going to be a lot of fun. In this episode, I will be opening a box from Kayou's Series 3, another box, while talking about video games. Whoa, let's have a go. So, what I'll kind of do is I'll do it in chronological order, really, where I just kind of go right back to the very beginning and recount from there. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, I mentioned it, I touched on it before in episode 3 when I was talking about career. But, look, I'd had a little bit of experience with it, but when we came out to Australia in 1987, the first Christmas here in Australia, I got a fantastic upbringing, I really did. I got a Commodore 64. It was a game changer, it really was. Now I'd played a bit of Commodore 64 back in England, so I sort of had an idea what to expect going into it, really. But I got a Commodore 64, it was brilliant, and it was the best Christmas I'd ever had, 1987. Fucking tops me, really, you know. So I got a Commodore 64, and I had I don't know if any one of you have ever had one of those. I had it was the tape deck, you know. Only the very elitist, the best of the best, the luckiest, you might say. They would have they would have had the disc for it, you know. It was all tape, you know, and it was brilliant though. So I had if you've ever played Commodore 64, The Last Ninja, Elite, they just don't make games like that anymore, you know. Elite was a game that you could play for hours. It was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. It was just brilliant. Great, really, you know. And the funny thing about my Commodore 64, I say mine really, but I enjoyed kind of programming on it too, you know, with the basic, you know. Obviously, you know me, I'm very much a simpleton, so it had to be basic, didn't it, really? But it was a brilliant time for me. It was just fantastic, you know. So that was kind of how my video gaming started, really, with the Commodore 64. My brother had the Atari 7800 or something like that, you know. But my parents had wanted me to get me a Commodore 64. Again, I mentioned it before, but my upbringing was just brilliant. I've got no complaints. I really don't. Fantastic, you know. I think at some point, I would have picked up the Nintendo Entertainment System after the C64. I'll only touch on each one kind of a little bit because obviously I've had a lot of experience in, you know, computer games, really. You know, as you can imagine, I suppose Gen X, we kind of sort of started growing up with it, really. Eventually, after the Nintendo, and obviously great games, really. I'm not really a Nintendo fanboy or anything like that, but it was a great system, you know. Eventually, from there, I ended up buying the Super Nintendo. That was terrific as well. Obviously, I think what was it, Top Spin or Top Gear? Not Top Gear, but they had a series of racing games that were just great. I also liked Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. Brilliant, you know. Tecmo NBA Basketball, played a bit of that. NBA Jam. That's kind of one of the things where I want to start talking about, really, because when you think about your favourite games over the years, right? Like NBA Jam, the original NBA Jam on the arcade was one of my favourite games. It really was. I was you know, my favourite basketballer was Charles Barkley back in the day, so I really loved playing. Obviously, the NBA Jam arcade, playing as Barkley, that was great, you know. So when NBA Jam came out on the Super Nintendo, I had to get that, and I bought the peripheral as well that came out a short time later, if I recall, that allowed you to connect 4 controllers at once. So obviously we could play 4-player. This is a UR coming up here. I get Shockwave or Skywarp vibes, maybe Cyclonus, there was a bit of purple there. It is Shockwave. Obviously, I've got all of the URs several times over, so that's fine. I'm just going to build a pile of those there. The Super Nintendo was brilliant, though. Now, that was when I went round a friend of mine's place, kind of about that time, maybe 93, 94 or something, and he had a personal computer. He had a PC. And I remember being so awestruck by it. He was, he had this game that we'd been hearing about called Doom. Now, that was a game changer. And after that point, I had to get a playable copy of Doom. So I ended up actually buying a year or two later or something like that when I had the money, the Atari Jaguar. Don't know if any of you have heard of that one or had that one, played that one. But obviously I bought it for Doom. But also what ended up being quite fantastic on my Atari Jaguar was Aliens v Predator. Fucking loved that game, But I'll still sort of. This is an AR I've got coming up here. I think it is Scourge from what I've seen on the exterior there. Yes, it is. Obviously, I know them all by sight now. I have all the ARs, I have all the URs. Look, I will sleeve this one. So I'd always wanted a personal computer, really, because obviously up until then it had been consoles. But we're talking about maybe 94, 95, something like that. Back in the day where if you wanted a good computer, you still were looking at $3,000 or $4,000. Eventually, though, I was able to get a loan and buy a personal computer. And again, that was a game changer. It was, because all I wanted to do back then was play Doom. I've got some, sorry, this is there's going to be a bit of a reveal here. Oh, that's Ratchet. That is the CR of Ratchet. That's okay. I've got probably at least a couple of these now. I might get these ones graded. This and the other one graded. I don't know. I might. Nice ones though. The CRs are a great card. The Series 3 CRs are a great card. They really are. I'll probably get another 2 URs, and that'll be how this set goes. But I'd always wanted a personal computer for Doom. Now, I have become, I suppose, with that sort of route, more of a computer game, a PC gamer, I'll be honest. Like I might have dabbled in Xbox or PlayStation over the years since then, but by and large, it's really just been. I've really just been a PC gamer. I absolutely have. That was about the time then Quake came out. At first I didn't have a good system to run Quake. You need a dedicated 3D FX card, something like that. It was about the time that I wasn't sort of really working as well. Didn't have a lot of money, and those cards were expensive. You were looking at maybe $1,000 for that alone. I was thinking that might have been a special card, but it was not. So by and large, I suppose at this day and age, I do everything on the computer. I did get originally I got a PlayStation 2. I mean, that was okay. Like, I liked Hunt of the Reckoning. They had a good EverQuest series of games. I should really talk about that. Because I should really be speaking about my favourite games of all time in this video. I really should. Now, my first love, as far as computer games were concerned, would be NBA Jam. But the greatest video game that I've ever played is EverQuest 1. And if anyone here is still on my channel, having I suppose maybe subscribed because I was doing that VQuest, Now, Warcraft 3 obviously was a great RTS from Blizzard back in their heyday. But what was good about Warcraft 3 and Blizzard's games back then was they made it easy to mod. So I started getting into the triggers, and before I knew it, I was doing a mod based on EverQuest. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, as you know. I loved EverQuest 1. Oh, like that it was, EverQuest 1 was a game changer. Again, how many times are you going to keep saying something was a game changer? This really was. You know, up until then it was like all sort of like, you know, you would play a game like Command and Conquer or Total Annihilation, brilliant games, you know. But one to the next it wouldn't matter. And then obviously when I played EverQuest 1, all it was persistent. You had characters and you had like an MMO. EverQuest 1 was brilliant, guys. You know, like I must admit I was disappointed that not more people got into that, you know, like the EverQuest conversion that I was doing for Warcraft 3, because I watched my videos even then just sort of more recently, and it's shocking, staggering potential really. But then, does anyone really want to play EverQuest 1 in this day and age in a Warcraft 3 map, you know? Not really. It was a bit niche, wasn't it? I suppose niche is something I do very well, isn't it? Because here I am again doing niche stuff, you know? Still, you do what you've got to do to get you through the times. But my favourite computer game, without a doubt, over the ages, EverQuest 1. No doubt. Like, you know. And I suppose, if I'm talking about video games, I should really be referencing the fall of AAA gaming. Certainly as far as PC games are concerned. You know, obviously it became apparent the way the wind was blown, you might say. I you know, as a PC gamer, I really don't care about AAA gaming anymore today. You know, it's generally something to avoid, because I'm sorry to say, but it is dulled down for the console market. This is going to be an MR coming up here, a live action card. I'm sorry guys, it does interrupt me every time. Okay, that is Ironhide. You know what? That might actually be the last MR card that I needed. I'm going to check that off camera. I might reference it in one of my latter videos. But I'm reasonably confident that's a nice looking card too. I mean, obviously bearing in mind Transformers live action is garbage, by and large, you know. That is not a bad looking card. So I'm reasonably happy with the state of this box as we've gone. I've only got 2 more packets left, plus the promo. I do like video games though, because obviously in this day and age, people need to be able to escape. You know, ever rising cost of living, all that kind of crap. You know, you need something to forget about it all. You know, video games are a great distraction for that. They really are. Okay, that's okay. So it's going to be the last pack here is going to have something in it. Probably another UI, if I'm being honest. So because I'm not really... So if you ask me, well, what are your favourite games today, Si? What do you like to play today? Well, you know, obviously it's all about Steam. You know, gaming on Steam these days. I've got an Epic Store account and all of that, but Steam was just well ahead of the curve when it comes to it. So in this day and age, Subnautica, obviously, as you might know, because I had that, you know, I did a bit of a playthrough, but obviously I don't think it's really what my channel is about. I don't even really fucking know what my channel's about, really. Okay, this is going to be the last card. It is a UR. I'm getting might be Optimus again. It is. That's okay. A good Optimus card, as David Brent would say, a good Optimus card is a good Optimus card for life. Honestly, that's so good. If you haven't seen The Office UK version, I would suggest giving it a go. Brilliant, really. I love computer games though, obviously it's good. Other games I like today, 7 Days to Die is a brilliant zombie survival game. They actually just released the what's it called? The I don't actually know. The recent update for it, 2.0. where you've got to sort of fight in different. Oh, this is embarrassing, isn't it? I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry, guys. I do like 7 Days to Die, but I should know what that was called. Something Rising. Oh God, how embarrassing is that, right? I don't want to have to look it up because that's when it just gets even more embarrassing. I've been watching Block 9 play it all the time, so you'd think I'd know. Seasons Rising. Oh God, honestly, I'm just gonna shut up now. Really, honestly, what are you doing, fucking watching me? I don't know anything. It's ridiculous, right? But I'm very good at not knowing anything. I like to feel. So, this has been episode 9 of me talking video games. So yeah, started with the Commodore 64. Obviously, I went through a few consoles for a bit. I bought the Atari Jaguar just so I could play Doom, really. Oh, it was great. It was great. I remember going around my friend's place. He would remember this. Me playing Doom. It was the first time I played. Honest to God. I would have been at his house for like 6 or 7 hours just playing Doom straight. Fantastic, you know. But I'm a PC gamer now, first and foremost. Once I got a PC, there was no going back. You know, I did get a PlayStation 3 more recently, so I could play Rock Band. You know, that was brilliant. I got a drum set. You know, good times. But yeah, this has been me talking about video games. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been episode 9 of Simon Talks Life. It's been episode 9? Yes, it has. I'll see you soon for episode 10.